We're back in the cold. Already was out shoveling, plowing this morning. Oof, it's cold out there, Willie.
Why don't you? You should just hire a Canadian to come down, do your snow work for you.
You know, we are in like Rochester and Buffalo. Like this is just southern Canada. We're just on the other side of Lake Ontario. I actually enjoy plowing, shoveling. Like I actually like it. I like doing property work. It's peaceful. But
Yeah,
this year we've gotten snow every day but one day. That's
dude,
just
I'm
a
telling you,
that's a lot of snow.
since I came back to Idaho, it hasn't stopped snowing. Like it snowed every single day, and almost all day long, and I love it.
Yeah, well now it's like I'm kind of locked in. I feel like not going anywhere for the next month. It's like final weekend of duels is here, and then we get ready for conference weekend, and then we get ready for NCAA's, and
I think I've made my decision on. Are you planning on going to Big Tens?
so I was actually going to bring this up because yesterday I was talking to my wife about it, and I said, you know what? What if I don't go and I save a bunch of money because you burn through money going flights, hotel, food, drinks, everything. What if I just redid the TV setup in my office and the basement? And I'm like, I could really make a nice TV setup and still save so much money from not going. So I'm leaning on definitely staying home for conference weekend so that I can see all the conferences.
Okay, well then in that case, my decision's final. I am going to Corvallis for Pac-12s. So
Really?
yeah, it's I don't want to. I don't want another weekend of travel. To be honest, because
Yeah.
after Big Ten or after NCAAs, I'm going to NHSCAs. So I'm going to be gone. It's like 2 weeks gone, right? And here
Yeah.
would be another week. And Corvallis is 7 hours drive, and also it's on a Thursday, so I will be back in time for the other conferences.
Wait, what?
It's on a
Pac-12s are on a Thursday?
dude. Check this out.
That
Pac-12s
can't
are.
be. That cannot be.
Hold on, let me make sure that I'm not giving fake news.
All right, hold
Uh,
on.
Oregon
Pac-12
State.
championships, March 6th. Yeah, you're right. That's bizarre. It's all day March
No,
6th,
no.
but it's just Thursday.
Listen, the whole thing is bizarre.
That's
Listen to this.
bizarre. That is.
Yeah, but it's bizarre, but it's awesome. March 6th, Thursday. Yeah. So, um, listen to this. This is gonna. This even like shocked me. It shocked me so bad that I was asking dumb questions. So, Nate Engel, the assistant coach at Oregon State, texted me about something, and it made me think like, oh, maybe I should go to Pac-12s. And I said, hey, Nate, can you get me a pass for Pac-12s media credential? He's like, yeah. He's like, and then he texts back. He's like, all right, all set. You're right along the stage. I said, there's a stage? And he's like, yeah, it's only one mat. And I'm like, what's only one mat? The finals? And he's like, no, the whole tournament. I'm like, what? The whole tournament's on one mat on an elevated stage? And he's like, yeah, dude, it's 4 teams. And
That's
I'm like,
wild.
what? And I'm like, how are you going to fit that all in? What about wrestlebacks? He's like, there's 4 teams. There's no wrestlebacks. If you lose, you wrestle for third and fourth, and we're done. And like, my brain had a hard time like wrapping itself around it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to Pac-12s. Go see Ferrari. Check him out, which is
AJ,
actually a really good weight with Stephen Little and
yeah,
Munoz.
I think it's the best weight. It's also like I always want to give AJ the benefit of the doubt. He posted a video yesterday
Yeah,
of him working out, just absolutely crushing it. And it's like, if this is not an old video, How are you not in some of these duels and matchups? If this is not a video that you're just sharing from a month ago, which happens a lot of times, content creators recycle or they capture footage and then they post it a month later, or whatever. But if that's recent, go back and watch it. Like he's not injured, so it's very
Well, yeah, I'm not exactly sure why he's been sitting out. He missed the most important tournament of the year in Cliff Keen. He missed a couple key duels, including one with Stephen Little last week. And so you're left to speculate. But he did say he's going to come back for the final two duels, which is against Cal Poly and Cal Baptist. And he'll be ready for conferences. Now, he did maybe tip his hand. I don't know. If you recall when they were talking about AJ coming back, I said I'd be interested to know if I said there's a possibility he has to be heavyweight. I mean, he's a big kid. I don't know how easy 197 is for him. And as it turns out, he's making 197. But in that post, he said water flush and weight cut. And so he must have to pull a little bit, right?
could be, yeah.
Maybe the fact is, and this is all speculation. How much can you garner from one social media post? But maybe it's that. I mean, somebody had said he was banged up, dealing with an injury, but maybe also part of it is maybe it's not easy for him to make 97 consistently.
It could be. It could be. But to wrap up the travel plan segment, I'm definitely staying home, I think, for conference weekend so that I can watch everything and we can do shows all weekend long. NCAAs, I'm still undecided. I have a couple of coaches that are very persistent on getting me a media credential. And I said, please do not go out of your way. My ranting on Twitter was more about the overall issue that content creators should be there. But if they do get me a press pass, I might feel obligated to go, and then I'll go.
You should be there.
It's
really stupid.
I don't.
No, I'm not going to start again. But listen, I'll just put it this way: you won podcast of the year, but can't get a media credential.
And I mean, it's like, again, the big thing for me is if I can't have my laptop, I'm not going. It's just what it is at this point. So
yeah.
NCAA's undecided. Conference weekend, I'm probably staying home. I think for my office, I'm going to order. I found this place, Display Go or Go Display or something yesterday, where you can order these cool wall mounts. So I'm going to get like a dual TV wall mount, order 2 new like 50-inch TVs, have them side by side in the office. So that's my project to take care of over this next week. So I'm pumped for that.
Yeah, that's another great thing about Pac-12's being on a Thursday. Is that I can go, get back. Everybody can focus on it, not just me, right? Everybody can, that it's on a Thursday, everybody can focus on it. And get back, then I'll get back and can really dial into the other conferences and work from home. And it'll be like, I'll do like updates, like real time. Who's in, who's out, who just clinched a bid. If Big Ten gets 9 spots or 6 spots at a weight and somebody makes the semis, they're locked in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, a lot of fun coming up. So we've got a couple. You want to talk about a couple notes here before we talk about?
Yeah, a couple personnel stuff. Like one is. While we had a duel last night, Rutgers and Penn, and Penn came out kind of on fire. They won 4 of the first 5, including Max Gallagher over Dean Peterson. And then in the back half, Rutgers had their way with them. The big win was Jackson Turley over Nico Incontrera. So it looked like kind of disaster for Rutgers, but then they swept the back half. But the key point here, the interesting point, is that uh, John Posnanski didn't wrestle, and then afterwards, a reporter got a quote from Coach Goodell that said that it's looking likely that Paz is just done. He's just done wrestling, and that's it shines a light on how tough wrestling is, because Paz is a tough dude through and through, and a great kid, and it is he was an A was he not, he was an AA is right out of the gate,
Yeah.
or close to a blood round or something, and he came in highly touted recruit, and he was awesome in high school, successful from Jump Street in college, and it's just hard to keep your academics, social life, wrestling, drive, hunger for 4, 5, 6 years, and that's 4, 5, 6 years after.
He was fourth his true freshman year.
Yeah, uh, and that's keeping that drive after like 10 years of trying to be the best and wanting to get noticed and wanting to get a scholarship and wanting to wrestle at Division 1, and I just think it doesn't go talked about enough about how difficult it is and how important it is to keep yourself motivated and in the game. It's not easy. A lot of times you'll see, like, especially over the last 15 years, um, what the hell happened to that kid? He was awesome 2 years ago, and now he's like not great.
And
Well,
we did too.
he's not motivated. He's washed.
And, and
Uh, it's been through the ringer.
and some of it too. Who tweeted us? J Moss tweeted us about guys who didn't pan out, and guys who kind of fell off. And it's like it would be fun to do a whole show on that in the off season, both highly touted recruits or guys who just so there is so much to talk about there with that. And the other personnel note too, I mean, kind of along the same lines, but obviously a very, very different scenario with Sammy Sasso.
Yeah, so it's going to be Brandon Cannon for Ohio State the rest of the way. Um, and, obviously, Sammy Sasso has been the heart and soul of that team, like the leader, um, a big part of not only Ohio State's success, but their kind of culture in the room. And obviously, he went through his ordeal. He got shot and came back through it all. But and I said this, it just didn't look like Sammy could move the same way. And that's what the coaches tell me. Like, Sammy is very conscientious of his limitations.
Yeah.
And, the staff called and said, we just wanted to let you know it's going to be Cannon, and that they were scheduled to have a wrestle off. And Sammy said, listen, I'm not the best version of myself. The best thing for the team is the best thing for the future and the development of this team is to have Cannon go. I'm not going to stand in anybody's way. And, like, they said it's part of what makes Sammy great, part of why he's such a good cultural fit and why they love him. And they said it was a really emotional thing.
I don't think we ever see Sammy wrestle another match. I obviously don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to continue. I can't imagine he continues on the senior level if he has these limitations that he can't get back to.
No,
I think
he knows.
Yeah.
Sammy's always been like sort of hands-on and wants to help, and he would make an excellent coach, in my opinion.
I think, Ohio State has a track record of bringing their guys on. I really think he'll be next at whatever position they want to make for him at Ohio State. I think he
Yeah.
stays there. I think,
Well, they're gonna find a spot for him. They're gonna make him an offer, in some role. But I'm also told like his wife or his girlfriend, fiance, whatever it is, she's finishing up her law degree, I think, and so depending on her career, there might be some, they might need to move. So
yeah. That's why Snyder
but
went to Penn State. Not the only reason, but his wife was going to med school at Penn State.
Kyle, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, so our first duel was last night. Penn over Rutgers. Rutgers over Penn. 18-13. Gallagher beat Dean Peterson. There's so many wonky things. 125 is wonky. I did, updated Big Ten seed projections, and obviously this one, Gallagher over Dean, won't affect that. And there's not much left that will affect anything, because the only Big Ten versus Big Ten duel this week that's left is Nebraska and Purdue. But there's like some wonky things, right? Like Gallagher just beat Dean Peterson, who's probably projected as the 2 in the Big Ten. You know what I realized? Who has a win over Chittum? Chittum's going to be the 1 seed in Big 12s. And he has a loss. He has a loss to somebody that's going to be like the 7.
Well, he's got a loss. His 2 losses this year are Brandon Cannon, Ohio State, and Charlie Miller.
Brandon Cannon. Yeah. Right. So he's Brandon Cannon's going to be like the 9 seed. And Chittum's going to be like the 1 seed of the Big 12. But, he earned it. He beat Fish, Seabrick, Downey down the stretch. But check those out. Check the Big Ten seeds out, especially because they're pretty much locked, man. They're pretty much locked. The only things that are going to change or have the potential to change is Caleb Smith versus Ramos and Joey Blaze, Antrell Taylor. Other than that, things would be pretty much set.
Yep.
All right. Penn, Rutgers last night. Today is Kent State, Cleveland State, Edinburgh, Lockhaven, Presbyterian, VMI, Bloomsburg, Navy. Tomorrow, Columbia, Bucknell, Edinburgh, Bloomsburg, Michigan State, Central Michigan, Indiana, Chattanooga, Maryland, Drexel, Brown, Harvard, Arizona State, Lehigh, at Lehigh. And we could find out the status of Crookham, maybe, right?
It is interesting that somebody DM'd me yesterday that they were like, Flo kind of pushed back on Minio saying Crookham was out for the season, and now Crookham's out of their rankings. Do you know anything? And I'm like, I know the same thing that I knew months ago. It was unlikely he was going to be back for the postseason. They were going to make an effort. The coaches were optimistic he's going to be back. I don't think anybody's going to know for another couple weeks. I really don't.
Well, okay. So to push into Flo, they're Ron Burgundy. They will print whatever you tell them to print and not question it. I mean, that's been proven several times this year. But in their defense, kind of, some people do have a process, like if you didn't wrestle in X amount of weeks, they take you out.
Yeah.
But that's sort of disingenuous too, because if you went on record and say he's coming back, then why take him out for 1 week?
Yeah, and we're so close to the postseason right now that it's like, and I don't know. when they took him out, it's just somebody was asking me, what do you think of his status? Do you think that's an indicator? I said, I stand by what was said months ago, that he has an injury. It's unlikely he's going to come back for the postseason. And, you know, I'm assuming it sounds like the family would rather just take a medical red shirt and have a full healthy year than try to rush to return for the postseason.
You know, here's where I sit. Like, I'm not Ryan Crookham, and I don't have his elbow, and I don't know how it feels. But if he's able to go, if he's able to do it, and not just totally shot. Put it this way. I don't think he needs to be 100% to go. I don't think he needs to be 100% for it to be the right decision to go. He can beat anybody at the weight. And the fact of the matter is, how long are you going to stay in college? And how sure is it that you're going to be healthy? To get a medical for this year would mean that you want to compete in 3 years from now. How do you know you're going to be healthy then? How do you know you're going to be driven then? How do you know you're not going to want to go to law school or, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
I don't know.
I think that's all fair analysis.
So if Ryan can go, I would go. That would be my decision. You know, by all indications, they're on the fence. And I think, you know, I know that the dad would prefer him to be shut down.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like, and maybe we can do a show on this in the off season. Like, I don't know what the numbers look like of people who decide to, let's call that, if you are healthy to go and you decide not to get a red shirt, I would call that gaming the system. Obviously, if you can't come back, it's not a question. That's not. But if you can go and don't, that's gaming the system. And I don't know that we've ever seen that really play out to somebody's benefit.
Well, the thing is, I don't think, I get what you're saying, but I don't think in Crookham's case it is gaming the system. I'm saying, like, now.
I'm saying if he can go and says, let me just medical red shirt, I'll have a better shot, but he can go, that if he can't go, he can't go. Like, that's 100% I agree with.
Yeah. I just mean, it might seem like the right decision now is like, oh, I'm not at my best. Let's not go. And in 3 years, it might be like, you know, in retrospect, I should have just went.
Yeah.
You know, but
and by the way, I'm not picking on Crookham. We have a lot of people right now that are like, I'll just take a medical red shirt.
Well, it's so easy to get right now, right?
Yeah.
You see lots of scenarios where it's like, is it a real medical? Now, Ryan's the real medical. Like, he got hurt. But again, with that 50-50 thing, if this was 20 years ago and medical weren't handed out like crazy or like candy, maybe it makes Ryan's decision easier, right?
Yeah.
But we've seen scenarios like younger Bastida. Like, is he really hurt? Or like maybe he wants to be able to graduate, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, it's very hard. We're saying this, you know, from the surface. Like, you never know what some of these people.
Sure.
We have such a lack of transparency in the sport that it does leave things open to interpretation and speculation. And, you know, that's what we're doing. We're just kind of talking about it. So, you know, and by the way, any of these wrestlers who want, if they're listening, you want to come on and defend yourself or share your story, go for it. Like, all for that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we know.
Gun to your head, do you think we see Crookham in the postseason?
No.
Me neither.
Nope. Now, it'll be interesting when Lehigh wrestles this weekend because there's three options. There's wrestle Crookham. Okay. There's wrestle Matty Lopes, in which case it would just tell the whole entire world that Crookham's out because Lopes would be burning his red shirt, and you don't burn a red shirt for one duel. Or 3, put none of the above in. Put a third person in, and it tells us absolutely nothing.
Which is more than likely what will happen.
Which is what will happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so Arizona State, Lehigh. Yep, that's Friday at 7. American at Penn State. Pitt at Virginia. NC State, Virginia Tech's a good one.
That's a great one. That's every year. I put some stats in here that Trent Hidley put out there. Since 2005, Virginia Tech holds the advantage 12-9. Since 2015, North Carolina holds the advantage 6-4. Every duel has been decided by 10 points or less outside of 2021, which was 11. Shout out Trent for those stats.
Good job, Trent. I'm still blown away. And that's good stuff. I'm still blown away by Blair Delbarton for 4 straight years has come down to heavyweight. Not heavyweight, the last match. How insane is that?
Yeah.
All right, let's break it down. Vince Robinson versus Eddie Van Treska. This happened previously, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm pulling it up right now. Hang on.
And that was kind of one indication where it's like, all right, V-Rob's ready to go. He's 18-1 on the year.
No, they haven't wrestled.
No, they haven't. Who did V-Rob beat early that it was like, okay? Oh, he was beating Dean when Dean forfeited.
Yeah.
And defaulted.
And then we all wanted to see him in Ramos, and that didn't happen.
Yeah. But a big one in the duel, a big one for, I guess, ACC. Tony Ramos asked me to do ACC seeds. And at first I was like, bro, there's like 5 schools, but there is 7 now, so. But
are you going to do Pac-12 seeds?
I do Pac-12 seeds. I could probably nail the top 4. Anyway, big for the duel, big for seating purposes, perhaps. So V-Rob, Ventresca, McGonigal, O'Reen. I'm gonna go O'Reen in that one. I'm gonna go V-Rob, O'Reen. I'm going to NC State.
McGonigal has the one head-to-head win. He beat him 4-1 back in 2022.
Yeah.
I don't think that says much right now for 2025, but.
No. Well, McGonigal, too, has been wrestling really tight matches.
Yeah.
I don't know. And O'Reen does, too, but. Tracy Latona. Go Latona. Henson Biskins. So I'm taking Henson, so that's 2-2 apiece. This is a big match.
I would have never pronounced his name like that. I'm so glad you read that one.
I hate it.
I would have had the boo birds on me about the pronunciation if I would have tried to pronounce that name.
I hate it. I hate that it's pronounced Biskins.
I would have never.
Biskins.
Like, how am I? I don't listen. These people that I think it's funny at times. Like, listen, I'm not the best pronunciator of names, especially the ones I've never heard. I would have never looked at that word and pronounced it like that.
I know. There's some that are funny, like you say McCrowan.
There's some that are just like I add a letter or something.
Pick Sadaway.
Yeah.
Right? And that's funny. But there's some like, how do you know this is Biskins? How about Michael McGee? How are you supposed to know that that's McHale?
Yeah, he DM'd me one time because like I put in a graphic like Mike McGee because I had seen that dozens of times in Flow articles and here and there, and so I just put and he's like, my name isn't Mike. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so I'm reading it and he's like, it's Michael. And I'm like, that's Mike. And then I'm like, it's like, I was doing the Ewan Felters thing. We're like, what? Yeah, he told me it's Miguel. Okay.
But this is a big one. Ed Scott and Hippolito. Hippolito, very promising. very promising young career. Ed Scott got a little bit more tread on his tires. I think he's wrestling a little bit better now than he was in the beginning of the year, and we could see this for a whole nother year. So I think this is sort of a pivotal bout, not only in the duel, but to show where both guys are at right now. Scott could beat him, and you say, okay, Hippolito still got some ground to make up, or Hippolito could win, and you say, okay, Hippolito's a player.
It's also like Ed Scott, man. It's weird because it's like if you look at his career this year or his resume this season, he lost to Jimmy Arrington, he lost to Jude Swisher, he lost to Caleb Fish. He's not beaten like a top 20, 25 guy all season.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. And listen, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that it's a Poznansky situation. What I'm saying is you come in, your dream is to make it. Your dream is to make it, get a scholarship, go D1, get in there, and you do it, and to be number one in the country. And Ed Scott was close to that. And you come into college like with your ass on fire, and you're going to take over the world, right? And Ed Scott did that. Like, he was really good really early. After you get 2, 3, 4 reps in, are you that motivated to wrestle in November? I mean, you know the drill, right? You know that the national title is not on the line in November. And so that's why I'm sort of not surprised Ed Scott took a couple losses early in the year to pretty tough kids, although not losses we expected him to take, right? So I think this match says a lot.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
Fields, Church. I think Fields in that one, but not sure. Singleton Wolak is an interesting.
Mac Church just beat Fields 4-2.
He did
back in December. Yeah.
Good. I did not know that result. So that's a wrinkle there. That's a real wrinkle. I'll go through them all and then we'll tally them up. But Singleton Wolak, if I had to pick this match at the beginning of the year, I would have said Wolak, but Wolak's been a little bit up and down. Again, those old guys, they can be a little streaky. So, a couple months ago, I would have taken Wolak. Now, it's going to be really interesting. And now to me, I would still lean Wolak, but like 50-50, 60-40-ish.
Yeah, same.
Stuart Fishback, another one. TJ's been really up and down. Well, not up and down. He's been pretty much down this year. Okay. But we love him. And we know what he's capable of. And so I think you probably take Fishback here, but knowing that TJ's capable of anything.
I think this one's Stewart for 2 reasons. Number one, Stewart is starting to heat up. His last 5 matches, tech, pin, major. And in those, he's scored 21 points, 19 points, 14 points, 16 points. And yes, those aren't the highest quality opponents, and I know you poo-poo on that sometimes, and sorry for the people who don't like when we say poo-poo, but I do think he's getting back into a rhythm. He is scoring points. And on top of that, he's also 2-0 against Fishback.
Okay, so 99% of the time, I hate when you go, oh, he scored 17, 14, 16, 13, because it doesn't matter if it's not against great opponents. However, in this case, I think it is applicable and noteworthy because for TJ, it's about fitness. For TJ, if his ability to wrestle did not erode over the summer.
Right.
What changed was his fitness level. Okay? Mm-hmm. When he gets his fitness level back, he's dangerous. And when you're putting up double-digit points, it means your gas tank is probably good, right? probably better than it was in November. So it is a good. Andy Smith versus Christian Knopp. You go Smith on that one. Trumbull Mullen, very interesting. Very interesting.
Maybe the
They
best
have not.
match of the duel.
Yeah, I mean, Viva Vantreska, McGonigal Areen, Scott Hippolito, Singleton Wolak, Stewart Fishback, but Trumbull Mullen might be the best. Might be the best one of the duel. This could go a lot of different ways, huh? Because there's a lot of tosses in here. 25 is a sort of a toss up. I mean, I'm going V Rob, but it's tight. McGonigal Areen, total toss up. Scott Hippolito. I mean, there's
Trumbull
a lot
did
of.
major Mullen last year at Midlands.
Did he?
Yep, 12-4.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd lean Trumbull, but Jimmy's big, athletic,
Yeah.
good tank on him. It's gonna be a great match. Who you got? Who you got overall? 1, 2, 2, 2. I'm gonna go NC State. Am I going to go NC State here?
I think I'm going Virginia Tech. I think I'm going to go Virginia Tech.
I think I am too. I think I'm going to go Tech.
Because I
think I'm
think...
Tech. And like the Fields Church match isn't sexy, but it's pivotal.
I mean, I think, right out of the gate, I think Vince Robinson wins. But then I think McGonigal beats Areen. I think Latona could major Tracy. I think Caleb Henson majors the 49-pounder.
Say it. Bisquick.
So, and then you don't know, so if Virginia Tech wins those 3 in a row, and then if Hippolito beats Ed Scott there with some momentum, the duel's over. I think.
Yeah. The pick is Tech, right? But there's a path for NC State.
Yeah. It's going to be a great duel. I'm watching that one tomorrow night.
Tomorrow at 7.
And for the betting crowd, I want to get lines. We don't have them. I don't have them. Bet Online doesn't have them. Let me see if Zach Bogle, who does get them because he's in Iowa. No, so he doesn't.
Well, they need to come out with them earlier.
I know. Well, they do in Iowa. So the only lines that he had was...
I know, but
Rutgers was -6.5 last night, and it looks like Oklahoma State is now a 1.5 favorite. That's it. So we need to get some betting lines.
Yeah, for the whole country, not just for Iowa.
For the whole country.
I wonder if they hold up the lines, hold up posting them, because they're worried about personnel and people getting in early and then something not.
I don't think so, because that typically favors them.
I don't think
the more
I don't
action,
think so.
The more action they get, it favors them. So
yeah,
I don't.
I agree, but
right.
I wonder. I mean, if that's not the reason, then why don't get them out?
Yeah.
I mean, more people talking about them, it's going to give you more action.
Yep, I agree.
Northern Iowa at Wisconsin tomorrow at 8. Cal Baptist Bakersfield. North Carolina at Stanford. Late, 10 o'clock. Tyler Knox, Ethan Oakley, Lachlan McNeil, Abbas. A couple good ones there. That's it for Friday. Saturday, Cleveland State at Rider, Iowa State at Missouri. Are we going to see Terrakina or will it be Perryman? This is a great duel too. Both teams are sorted down from preseason expectations, ravaged with injuries, both schools, but it makes for a competitive duel, and some key bouts in a Big 12 duel. So Terrakina Walker or Perryman Walker, Frost versus Moore, Frost versus Edmond, big one there. Uh, Panero Johnson, Joffrey, Chittum, Conway, Steed, Riggins. Will we see Keegan?
It is Keegan
Um,
O'Toole bobblehead night, so it's a great night for him to come back.
is it Keegan O'Toole bobblehead night? I
It
need one.
is.
I need one of those. Uh, so bobblehead night, last opportunity to wrestle in front of your fans in a duel. I think we see him. That would be Keegan versus MJ Gatan. Bachman Hawks, really good matchup there. Scon and Cassett, Herrera Stoner. It's gonna be a good, fun duel. And 1 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm in. I'm in on that one. Bucknell at Cornell, Brown at Sacred Heart, Northern Illinois at SIU, Edwardsville. Here's a side note. There was a lot of kerfuffle, kind of. Because Northern Iowa, Iowa State was awesome environment, right? And the
Awesome.
whole state of Iowa got really into it, and they set a record for that for attendance in that building. And it was awesome, and so then people started thinking, man, that should happen every year, and Iowa State happens every year, and why not Northern Iowa, Iowa? And I'm not. To me, that was a fail that they didn't wrestle this year. Now, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that School A doesn't wrestle School B because School A is scared or whatever. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying it should be mandatory every year. All I'm saying is you got two top 5 teams down the street from each other, and the environment you just saw is awesome. And in a sport where money making events are few and far between, make it happen. Make it happen. It's just a shame that wrestling, who doesn't have a lot of Super Bowls and doesn't have a lot of financial winners, has this sitting in their lap and it doesn't materialize. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But for whatever reason, they don't wrestle in Northern Iowa. They haven't wrestled for a long time. I don't know if there's beef there between Schwab and Tom, or just out of principle. I don't know. But the Cornell thing made me think about it, because Cornell fans, honestly, there's a good portion of Cornell fans that get mad that Penn State doesn't wrestle more often. They did wrestle them at
Collegiate duels, right?
collegiate
Yeah.
duels a couple years ago, but for a while there, Cornell fans were, "Oh, you don't wrestle us." Um, Sunday, February 3rd.
Sunday.
Sunday. F&M Open, VMI Sacred Heart, Wyoming Cowboy Shootout. Arizona State, West Virginia has some good ones in there. Figs, Strickenberger. I put out an errant tweet. I messed up on a tweet.
And you heard about it. Our guy.
3 seconds afterwards, Tony Ramos texted me. And then Chenzo texted me. But I said that Jet Strickenberger was undefeated since dropping to 25 this year, and he's beat all the key contenders in the Big 12, which makes it for a really nice matchup, really interesting matchup. He did pin Spratley, so it makes for a really nice matchup with Figs. However, I did make a mistake. Strickenberger went from 33 to 25, like mid-season. But he did wrestle like 3 matches at 25 in the very beginning of the year, and he lost one to North Carolina Spencer Moore. So I was incorrect. When I saw the change 33 to 25, I figured he was 33. I didn't scroll all the way down.
It's all right. We all make errors. Yep.
Fig Strickenberger, very interesting. Strickenberger beat probably Spratley, who would prior to that have been considered the top contender to Figs in the Big 12. So interesting. Campbell App State. That's always a banger. Campbell App State's always a banger. Campbell both are a little down this year, but that's a really fun rivalry. Cal Poly at Bakersfield, South Dakota State, North Dakota State. No offense, Obi, but I do have Hans Homie's t-shirt on.
I like that shirt.
That's just coincidence that I'm wearing that. But Gardner Webb Citadel, Air Force, Northern Colorado, Central Michigan, North Carolina, Oregon State in Corvallis. Man, I kind of want to go, but I don't want to go drive down the Corvallis twice. It'll be a good one, though. Nebraska at Purdue. Key matches there. Ramos, Smith, Blaze, and Antrell. Sort of pivotal for seeds. I mean, if you take chalk and say... I mean, you could say Ramos over Smith, next topic, if you want, right? I mean, Ramos is a favorite. But it is interesting. And then Blaze, Antrell, not a next topic thing. These guys are a little bit more in contact with each other on the pecking order, generally speaking. Now, Purdue did list alternates at both weights. They listed Blaze or they listed Ramos or. So we'll see if we get them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. And then the wrestling gods that wrote the script this year, they did it right. And might be really wrestling gods. It might be, let's give credit to Tom Brands and DT for saying, you know what? Last duel of the year. Actually, it probably was John, huh? That contract was...
Yeah, this happened, I think, before DT.
So talk about wrestling gods. Tom Brands, John Smith saying, last duel week of the year, last duel of the weekend. Oklahoma State at Iowa State. The transfer ball, the bag ball. That's bad. I shouldn't say that, huh?
Well, our guy Bashada has been calling it the transfer bowl. He's got a couple of other names. I mean, listen, when more than half the guys wrestling are transfers, I think it's okay to joke and call it a transfer bowl.
I'm just joking. Like, if you can't have a little laugh.
Have a little fun on this Thursday morning.
Check your pulse. I mean, it is a new era, and I'm not casting blame to either team. This is the era we live in. Obviously, I don't mind transfers. The only thing I don't like is tampering. It is soliciting guys that are not even rumored to be looking around. Period. End of story. That's what I don't like. Transfer is transfer. It's a new age, and 11 of the 20 in this duel. We're talking about number 2 and number 3 in the country, and 11 of the 20 are transfers.
And like you said, some of them are there's a very different feel when it's Joey Cruz, who wrestled 2 matches for Oklahoma and then transferred. That's very different than like what you're describing, where it's like, you know, guys being poached or guys being offered a bag because they did good one year, or a guy who did good and then said, let me try to find a bag. Like, there's a lot of different context here for transfers.
Joey Cruz is a different kind of transfer than Ja'Cory Teamer, right?
Correct.
Bernie Truex is a different kind of transfer than Mitch Mesenbrink, who didn't wrestle one NCAA tournament for another school, or Kirkfleet, right? I mean, there's levels to it. But this duel, 2 and 3, with 11 of the 20 projected starters are transfers, just neon sign we're in a new era. And 11 of 20, and that's not counting Carter Young, who drove to Northwestern and said, nah, I'm going back to Oklahoma. So there's like 11 and a half. All right, let's go through it. A lot of pivotal bouts. Although, there's been a lot of talk, and the message boards are all going through it and lineups and making their picks. It's been a really exciting week, and the fans are really pumped up about it. But one recurring narrative that fans are saying is it's a really good duel, but there are clear picks at every weight. There's like no toss-ups.
I was looking through when you did your picks, and I'm like, I agree with everything. And I'm like, it's one of those duels where I think it's going to be like the pick is very clear, but we're going to see an upset at one of the weights guaranteed.
100%. 100%. There's always the pick, the right pick to make, and there's always reality. Like something will not go to script. Spratley is the pick over Cruz. Drake is the pick over Whitcraft. Jameson is the pick over Schriever. Parco is the pick over Young. Teamer is the pick over Fish. These are not disputed. Everybody's going to 90% of people are going to go the direction I just said. Caliendo is the pick over Amin. Hamidi is the pick over Nelson or PK. Plot is the pick over Arnold or Angelo. Buchanan is the pick over Serber. Wyatt is the pick over Keeter. Everybody agrees with these.
Yeah.
Right? So why is it such an intriguing duel? Because those all have to go perfect for the expected outcome, and they probably won't.
And, yeah, and if you go by that, you're going you're also going by the fact that like so DraftKings has this a 1 point line, a 1 point line. WrestleStat has it a 2 point duel. Everybody's basically saying, hey, this is going to come down to bonus points.
Yeah, and one of the key things, I think, bonus is going to be huge. Bonus, on paper, bonus could be huge. However, there will be an upset. Somebody will get upset, and the other team is going to have to counter that. The question is, can the team that gets upset also cause an upset of their own?
Hold on. I'm trying to see your math here. Where do you have 1, 2, 3?
One thing I think is really interesting, I don't know if it's critical, but for the momentum and for the arc of the duel, is what weight they will start at. Sometimes they just say, all right, 25, let's roll. And sometimes they say, no, I want to start here. And I know I want to start here. And then you flip for it. And so I think for Oklahoma State, you probably want to start at 25. You think you're favored at 25, so get that win. And that would leave Wyatt Hendrickson to know what he has to do. Do you just have to win? Do you have to get a major? Do you have to get a pin? Do you have to get a tech? Okay. So I think it is utterly critical that Wyatt Hendrickson, not critical, I think it would be incredibly beneficial that Wyatt Hendrickson knows his assignment before the match.
I don't. I think Wyatt's going to get bonus. I mean, no disrespect to Ben Keeter, but after what Gable just did to him, you can't tell me that Wyatt isn't in that ballpark of at least majoring him. I think no matter what, Wyatt is a pinner, and I think regardless of the score, Wyatt's going to go for a pin. regardless. That's just who he is.
Yeah, yes. However, that's a fair point. However, if Wyatt doesn't go last, then you give another match, one of the other 9, the opportunity to know what they have to do in the anchor leg.
Yeah.
For instance, let's say they started at heavyweight. If you're Tom Brands, would you not consider starting at heavyweight? Then you give Buchanan, who has proven he has a second gear late. Buchanan now knows what he has to do. Does he have to go for the major? Does he play it safe and just get the W and Iowa walks away with the win? So I think there's a tremendous benefit in either one of those guys knowing what they have to do. So Spratley Cruz, I'm going to go Spratley, although I really like the way Cruz is wrestling lately. I think Cruz is dangerous. Last week I picked him against Cooper Flynn. I'm not willing to go that far this time. I'll take Spratley, although I think Cruz could make it interesting.
Cruz, hold on. Cruz could make it interesting. Spratley could also bonus him. There's an equal likelihood, I think, that Cruz could make this interesting and that Spratley could bonus him. If you're telling me it's an 8 or 9 point win for Spratley, I would not be surprised.
No, not in the 3-point takedown era. I wouldn't be surprised. And
the last time these guys did wrestle, it was a tech for Spratley. So I think back in November of 2023, he beat him 19-2. So a bonus here is not out of question at all for Spratley, which is, again, on paper, when I said I was going through your math, it was driving me crazy because you switch 2 of the guys. So I'm like, you have it 5-5, but you had Teamer in front of Fish. That threw it off. So yeah, we have a 5-match each favored. So if that does hold, that's where bonus points on paper are going to be huge. And you start looking at who could. I think Spratley definitely could get bonus there.
Yeah. So I think you're right. That could be bonus. Although this version of Cruz is much better, but
without a doubt.
But you're right. Drake Whitcraft. I'll take Drake by regular decision. I think it's a comfortable win. I don't think he's really threatened, but I also don't think he's going to blow Whitcraft out.
Now he did before, but that was he did, but that was 3 years ago. He majored him 17-6. So I think. Listen, I think all these guys with that coaching staff are making big improvements. So if you're talking about just name off of the resume, it's an Oklahoma State wrestler from 2022 versus 2025. I think it looks very, very different. Now, AL is the clear favorite here. But yeah, he did major him 17-6.
I guess bonus points here are not out of the realm of possibility. I don't know. I wouldn't pick it.
No, I think the pick is Drake probably by 4 or 5, but this is another one. And I think Spratley is more likely to get bonus here than Drake, but I don't think it's out of question for Drake.
Man, Drake could bonus. But I don't know. I don't know why I don't want to pick bonus. I don't know. That's a spot. And Corby actually made a good point on the message boards. Now I don't know if this is factually correct, but I'm taking his word for it. But he said with the number of matches that Whitcraft has wrestled and the record that he has, if he loses to Drake, he loses his AQ status. So maybe he's theorizing, maybe they throw Hughes out there. I don't think that's the way David would operate. I think David will put the guy that's best suited for the duel for them to win. But it is an interesting wrinkle that he brings up.
Yeah.
Jameson Shriever, I think we all take Jameson in this one. I don't know why, but I really liked Shriever's performance late against Von Bauer, but I don't know. Maybe it was Von Bauer just being a little crazy and going for bonus more than it really was Shriever. Shriever's like, I don't know, 4-9 on the year or something like that. So I'm going Jameson. I think Shriever could make it relatively interesting. I might be on a different planet with that take, but I don't know.
No, I think it's Jameson easy here.
I'm going Jameson. Parco Young, Young has shown flashes throughout, but Parco's the guy right now. And, Parco's in a tier with a couple guys as the best in the country. Teamer Fish, of all the matches that people were contemplating upset, this was one that they were like, maybe Fish could do it. But I don't think so. And I don't think that, it could be a thing where Teamer is not 100%, I guess. I don't know. I'm not overthinking this one. I think Teamer wins. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Can Fish do it?
Can Fish do it? Sure. He's a top 20 guy. Will he do it in Carver Hawkeye for Iowa's last duel of the year? I don't know. Teamer has shown signs of gradually improving since his return in each match, I think. You can definitely tell his gas tank isn't all the way there. At the same time, he's getting takedowns when he needs to. And if you look at Caleb Fish, he's lost 2 out of his last 3. While anything can happen, it doesn't exactly... Caleb Fish had a huge win against Ryder Downey, and I'm like, wow, Fish looks great. Then he lost to Chittum. He got pinned by Matt Bianchi. So it's like, man, Fish is kind of just not really consistent where I can say, man, he's got some momentum. He can pull this off. Again, I think it's possible, but I think Teamer is the definite pick, especially in Carver
One of those
Hawkeye.
spots, like any given day, Fish could pull off an upset, right? But the pick is Teamer.
Yeah.
Now, Caliendo Amin, here's one that I'm like high on Caliendo fumes, right? I think the world of him. I think he's awesome. I think he's very Iowa style, aggressive, puts up a lot of points. So when I first looked at this matchup, I'm like, now here's a spot. Caliendo could get bonus. And I still think he can get bonus, but I look back and I don't even remember these matches. But last year at Big 12s, they wrestled twice. They wrestled in the quarters and they wrestled in the third place bout. And they were both sudden victory wins for Caliendo.
Yeah, and, I noticed that too, where... I think a couple things. These guys wrestled 2 matches, and it was close and went to overtime both times. At the same time, I do think we're seeing a different Caliendo this year. Caliendo wasn't teching and destroying people last year like he is this year. So I think if anybody's made jumps this year, Caliendo has been one of the most impressive guys in all of college. So
I think similarly. However... Like Cam Amin last year at that time was probably wrestling the worst of his career. And he still went overtime with Caliendo twice. So
that's
not only felt him twice, he went to overtime with him twice at a point in time where he was probably struggling more than any other time. And so I love how prolific Caliendo is, but I'm going to take a regular decision.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Hamidi versus Nelson or PK. Here's where personnel gets a little interesting. Um, I'm probably the biggest non-Iowa fan of Nelson and PK. I don't think there's another person on the planet that loves Nelson and PK as much as I do that doesn't live in the state of Iowa. Um, I think that Hamitti's a little too big for PK, and I would take Hamiti without reservation. There, I would take Hamiti. Nelson, I think, has the size and the stinginess to make things interesting with Hamiti. And, I don't know what's all going on in the room and who's going to be the guy. I think that Tom should do what's best to win the duel in this particular instance, which probably makes me sound a little hypocritical when we get to the next weight. But I'm gonna take Hamiti. I'll take Hamiti either way, but I think it would be closer against Nelson. Who can he could I think he could slow Hamiti down more than PK could.
I mean, yes and no. They wrestled twice last year, and Kennedy lost 9-6 and 4-3. Now, Hamity definitely looks a lot better this year. I don't think he's going to lose to anybody other than O'Toole and Haynes. I don't know that either one of them does anything different than the other. Again, Kennedy wrestled him twice last year in 2 close matches, and while Hamity looks a lot better this year,
Good point. Now, Hamiti was cutting his leg off last year.
100%. It was both. Well, I don't think Kennedy was cutting his leg off, but this was definitely down at 65 last year. But either way, I don't think either one here. If I'm Iowa, I wrestle the guy that's going to wrestle in the postseason, because this could very well be an NCAA quarter or semi, potentially. So, maybe not a semi if you got... Well, I guess you never know.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going Hamiti. Plot against Arnold or Angelo. They did not list Angelo, and the big question is why and what do you make of it?
Gamesmanship. I think, these top programs, whether it's Iowa, Penn State, others, they sometimes just do this. I think it was maybe They do what?
That's what
Angelo wasn't listed in the probables during the Iowa State duel when he came out and wrestled. So they literally just did it where he wasn't a probable, and they threw him out there.
That's weird.
It's gamesmanship. Somebody said, make it make sense. And I said, the only way it makes sense is gamesmanship. Here's the scenario. You have brands come out.
But here's what I don't understand about the gamesmanship part of it. Do you think for 1 second that not listing Angelo makes Oklahoma State say, well, we ain't got to prepare for him?
No, it's just
zero chance.
Just like Carter.
What's the gamesmanship?
I'm not saying it's the right gamesmanship. I'm just saying why I think they do it. I think they think it's gamesmanship. Brand's already said, listen, Angelo has 5 dates. We're going to get him 5 dates. This is the last date. This is the only opportunity.
I know. That's what it makes it more bizarre.
Now
we're gonna get Angelo 5 dates, no cream puffs. Then you don't list them.
And here's the thing, too. There is a chance that this isn't gamesmanship, and there is a chance that after the fallout with Angelo and Teamer from the Penn State duel, they said, listen, let's scale back here. Gabe, you're the guy. Go wrestle. That could be, too. But
right.
It seems like gamesmanship. It feels that way.
I'm of the opinion, and listen, I understand everybody watching this show has already commented on Twitter about what it means, and almost universally, everybody rolled their eyes and said, yeah, right, it's going to be Angelo. So you're not going to agree with this take. But I don't get it. I not listing Angelo kind of makes me think it's going to be Gabe.
Fun fact for the Iowa State
It doesn't make sense.
Fun fact: November 23rd, a couple months ago, Iowa lists Brands and Kennedy at 74. At 84, only Gabe Arnold. Same exact scenario where you have Brands and Kennedy listed at 74, no Angelo at 84. I get it. I'm just saying. We literally just saw it.
To Tom saying we're getting him matches, no cupcakes.
Correct.
We're so getting him matches, no cupcakes. But then on the probables, you're not going to list them? But then you're going to send them out? Dude, I don't.
Okay, so let's go back to what you were saying back in the duel. Part of this could be Brands covering for Gabe Arnold and whatever Gabe has going on, and he just thought of something to say, and that's what he said.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know without.
My gut says we're gonna see Angelo. I would not be surprised if we saw Gabe, but my gut says it's gonna be Angelo.
I don't know what to think. By
the way, I think it should be Gabe. Gabe should go here. If Gabe's the guy in the postseason, which Brands has said, then wrestle Gabe.
I'm like the coach. I'm like Fonzie in The Waterboy, trying to figure it out and overthinking and going crazy. I don't know what to think. I think Tom is a character. And it very well could be gamesmanship and could be, sleight of hand. But I don't know. And I don't know what to think. I don't know. At the end of the day, I do not have any more inclination that it's going to be Angelo or Gabe. Now, it is a good question. Who should he put out there?
The guy who should wrestle in the postseason. Get a feel for a top 3 guy in the weight.
Yeah.
Listen, we both said Gabe should have wrestled Carter for that exact reason. You want to wrestle the best guys. Iron sharpens iron.
Okay. But here's the thing. They had no shot. Against Penn State.
But it's not about the duel. It's also about this is an individual sport. And Gabe Arnold had overtime matches with Allred and McAnally. I just pronounced his name wrong.
Tom is the ultimate winner. Tom is the ultimate. Tom wants to win this duel. That's why I didn't understand. Gabe calls a shot against Starocki, and you put out Angelo, who has, in a duel that you have no shot to win. Now, this is the duel. If you don't win this match, you probably don't have a shot to win.
Yeah, I don't know that either of these guys can beat Dustin Plott.
Well, Tom and company have a better idea than us. Which one gives them the better shot?
Yeah, potentially.
And part of the equation too, and we're laboring on this point, but it is a big and interesting sidebar. If you don't put Gabe in, is it just the biggest, most obvious vote of no confidence? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good question. Again, it's very weird with Brand saying we're going to get him 5 matches. He's got 5 dates. We're going to use the 5 dates. This is the 5th date. So to take Brands at his word at surface value,
Yeah. Yeah. The matchup. Plot beat Arnold last year. I think maybe 2 takedowns to 1 or 2 takedowns to 0. Was it
5-1.
was it 5-1? Okay.
And Arnold settled into 84 a little bit more than last year, I think.
For sure. So if it's Plot Gabe, I think similar to last year. I think Gabe is really good defensively, 90% of the time. And I think I don't think he's going to give up like a bunch of takedowns. So I would say similar. I would say 5-1, 8-3, 7-2, something like that. If it's Angelo, I think Angelo at this point is really good. He flashes future superstar. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that he could win this match, but I don't see anything that he's done yet to make him the pick. I would take Plot against Arnold 2 takedowns to 0. I would take Plot against Angelo 1 takedown to 0.
But let me ask you this. If Angelo beats Plot, let's say they wrestle Angelo, and Angelo beats Plot, we get to the postseason, and Arnold loses to Plot. Does that not cause contention internally?
That ship has fucking sailed.
You think that just doesn't even matter anymore?
No, because they know who wins that in the room. Or Angelo. And so one of two things are going to happen. The winner of that is going to be the starter next year. And the other one will have to find a different way. So protecting feelings right now, I don't know if it matters. Right? So next year you're going to have one of two. If Angelo wins the spot, if Angelo beats Gabe, Angelo's going to be the starter at 184, and Gabe will have to go down to 74 and wrestle off PK. If Gabe wins the spot, then Angelo will have to figure something out as well. Build into a 97. I don't know. Shrink into a 74. I don't know. I don't think he can get down to 74. I think he gets up around 195, 200 in the off season. So I don't think he'd be super duper small at 97. And this is a kid that wrestled 65 last year.
Yeah.
So I think there's some flexibility there, but yeah, at this stage they know what they got in both guys, and so
all right,
yeah. Well, who you picking? Plot, Arnold? Who do you pick?
Plot,
Angelo. Who do you pick?
Plot.
Score?
5-1. Either guy.
Cerber Buchanan. And here's another one where people are saying, well, maybe Cerber could do it. I don't see it. I
don't either.
I think Buchanan. I love Luke Cerber, but I think this is a spot where Buchanan wins comfortably. I will say comfortably.
Yep, I agree.
And then Wyatt Keeter, and I just think Wyatt can do what he wants, is what I think.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Really, really interesting here what happens from a betting standpoint. If they start at 125, the entire duel might not matter betting-wise until this matchup. The difference in the entire if you win or lose, if you cover, don't, could simply be, does Wyatt get 3, 4, 5, or 6? This This is very likely to be a 1 or 2 point duel. The line is 1.5. So,
Wouldn't it be cool if they had live lines? Like
oh, it'd be awesome.
the score is tied going into heavyweight, and a line pops up, and it's like 4.5.
I think they'd get crushed on live lines because, number one, I think half of betting wrestling is the lineups. If I could just bet knowing the actual lineup, I think it'd be a lot easier.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Although, imagine if there's a live line.
Betting.
Imagine if there's a live line and we start at 25. And regardless of what happens through the first 5, you still don't know, is Brands Kennedy going? Is Ferrari Arnold going? Like, you still have to make those decisions, even halfway through the duel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, like the live line's crazy. Could be crazy. Let's say the duel starts out 1.5, and Cruz beats Spratley. And I'm not saying that's likely, but how much fun is it now? Now the line moves to like Oklahoma State +2 or something like that.
I know.
It would be really fun.
So you got this duel 16-15 Oklahoma State.
I actually got 17-15. I think Wyatt. I think Wyatt puts up a lot of bonus. 17-15.
So who are your 2 bonus? Who's the other one? I thought that was your 1 bonus.
Wyatt.
You think he's gonna get a tech?
I think he's gonna turn him.
Very well could be.
I mean, if Keita doesn't get turned, then I mean, maybe it's a regular decision. But
you know what?
Wyatt destroys everybody but the top 2 guys. Destroy.
Yep. I think he gets a pin here. I just think Wyatt Hendrickson is a gamer. He loves putting on for the crowd. And even in front of a road crowd, I think he's going to want to go out there and have some fun. And I just think that when you're talking about a close duel, like right now, I think obviously if it's close to where he needs the pin, he's going for it. But even right now, I got to imagine if you're thinking about a close duel, you're thinking about how much it would mean to get a pin. You're thinking that would be huge.
Yeah. So I got Oklahoma State winning on bonus. However, Carver magic is real, my friends. Ain't nobody on earth went into that duel saying Tony Ramos is going to beat Jordan Oliver. And I don't know that there's a spot in here where Iowa has a Tony Ramos, but Carver magic is real.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they could cause an upset somewhere, it would be awesome. But it wouldn't. It's not like there's not the precedent for that.
It is like I'm glad we have primetime wrestling. I am a little selfishly upset about that because I like when we can record our show Sunday afternoon when all the action's done by like 5 or 6, and it's gonna have to be a Monday morning show because this duel is at I think 8:30 Eastern. A very rare Sunday night 8:30 Eastern duel.
It's gonna be awesome. What a great way to end the year.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And then next week, I mean, we'll do our normal recap show, but then we get to do postseason previews.
Crystal ball.
Ooh, we got to do crystal ball too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm pumped. I can't believe we only have 3 weekends of wrestling left. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
We're down to the every other weekend. Wrestling this weekend, none next. Wrestling the following weekend, none next. Wrestling the following weekend.
Best time of year, my friend.
Well, by the way, I college wrestling. Yes, high school, postseason, sprinkling all that, 100%. I'm just talking about college.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
JB.
You got anything else?
Nope, I'm pumped up.
All right. I'm going to probably go back to shoveling. Get rid of some more
Go
snow.
shovel.
This is and I got to get my TV set because I'm very excited. I ordered the mount yesterday. You know what a wall mount looks like, obviously, right, for a TV? This one is just two, like, welded together. So the TVs are going to be perfectly centered. My fear with mounting two individually is they're going to be a little bit off. But this will be a perfect two 50-inch TVs perfectly side by side.
Well, take pictures.
So, all right. I can't wait for Shane Sparks to tweet out, let's see your quad box setup, because I'm going to be ready. All right. Go Bills.
See you, Mike.